Board meeting to order, committee of the whole. We have a quorum here and online, and we will be taking a recess until at least 10 a.m. There will be a fire drill in just a few minutes. So we will be taking a break. Our inspirational speaker is going to be at the Capitol at 10 a.m. So we are in recess until at least 10 a.m. this morning, when everything is back to normal operations. Thank you.
Sounds good.
welcome everyone. I hope everyone got to enjoy the fire drill that lasted for 40 minutes. It was very loud. We'd like to welcome guests that are here today. J.D. Harden from Cognia, Dr. Claire Buck from GASIS, Andy Gensterbloom from GSBA, Robert Acock from Page, John Jackson, GSBA, and Justin Pauley, GSBA. And needs no introduction, our Dr. Wall there. Anyone I missed? I don't think so. All right, our inspiration is actually still across at the plaza, so we're going to go ahead and build our agenda and get that taken care of, and then give our team time to get the agenda built and printed out for us. So at this time, I will start with rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have two items for the Rules Committee. Item 1 will be placed on the consent agenda, and item 2 will be pulled for a separate vote.
Okay, item 1, consent agenda, item 2 for a separate vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Budget Committee,
Madam Vice Chair, we'll add items 1 through 6 to the consent agenda.
items 1 through 6 to the consent agenda. Thank you, Mr. Ellis. District Flexibility and Charter School Committee,
Madam Vice Chair, we had one item pertaining to the local charter performance framework. It'll be placed on the consent agenda.
okay. Item 1 on the consent agenda. And I'll make a recommendation to move the following to the consent agenda: the individual student waiver, the individual student variance, the minutes of the September 24, 2025 executive session, the minutes of the September 2025 state board meeting, the November 2025 personnel report, and the November 2025 legal report. And I think that concludes items onto the consent agenda and for a separate, one item pulled for a separate vote under rules. Everybody in agreement with that? Okay. Well, we will take about a 10-minute break here and give them time to print our agenda out for us. And maybe by then our guest speaker may be here. If not, we will go ahead and start and then let him speak when he gets here. Okay, 10 minutes, 10:30. That work for you? Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we now have our agenda. Before we look it over and see, make sure you don't see any mistakes that need to be changed. If not, a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
First by Mr. Downey, second by Ms. Kennemore. All in favor? Aye. All against? Okay. Now I need a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Mr. Downey. Second by Ms. Fennell. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have one item pulled for a separate vote. That's the standards for effective governance of Georgia school systems. And we actually have a guest speaker here this morning who would like to speak to us for just a few minutes. Mr. Jackson, GSBA. Welcome.
All right. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Chair Patty, Superintendent Woods, and members of the State of Georgia Board of Education. My name is John Noah Jackson, and I'm the immediate past president of the Georgia School Boards Association, which I'm told is the best position to hold in the association. Locally, I've served on the Baldwin County Board of Education since 2009. And I'm glad to be here this morning to speak with you all. So I want to start by expressing my deep gratitude to the board for your leadership and consideration of approval for the 9th domain, school safety. Additionally, I'd like to specifically acknowledge Mr. Frank Griffin and Nick Ellis. Without your support and guidance, I would not be here this morning speaking to the state board. So thank you for your support. This edition represents more than just a policy update. It is a declaration, one that affirms our collective belief that every student, every educator, and every staff member deserves to learn and work in an environment that is safe and supportive and secure. By elevating safety to the level of a core governance standard, you have recognized what so many of us in education already know, that academic excellence cannot flourish without physical, emotional, and psychological safety. Students learn best when they feel protected, respected, and cared for. Our educators can serve best when they have the tools and systems in place to ensure safety. Your approval of this domain will send a clear message to the communities across Georgia that the safety and well-being of our students are not an optional priority. They are foundational responsibilities. I want to thank you for acknowledging that safety goes beyond school walls. It includes crisis preparedness, mental health supports, transparent communication, and partnerships with families and first responders. This holistic understanding of what makes Georgia's standard is what makes Georgia standards truly exemplary. And I'm confident that other states will look to our work as a model for effective governance. On behalf of the Georgia School Boards Association and the 1,045 school board members we represent, I thank you for your foresight, your compassion, and your commitment to protecting our most valuable resources, our children. Because of your decision today, the message is clear. In Georgia, safety is not an afterthought. It is a standard. Thank you. I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have of me.
Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we are now open for discussion for the standards. Anyone have anything they would like to add, or Ms. Kenmore, I know you talked with Mr. Bryant this morning.
Yes, I did. I talked to Mr. Bryant, who was the superintendent at the time that the standard was originally brought forth and approved. And I just want to make sure that, we oversee the training that's going on in these school systems. Need to pull together systems to work as one. And I am very appreciative of the new domain that we have on school safety, But we also need to make sure we tighten up the other 8 domains they have, especially with different issues that are going on across the state in the area of board governance and finance and some other things. I had a phone call just the other day from someone in one of my counties talking about board meetings, open meetings that they're not abiding by the state statutes. So it helps us with accountability of these local systems. And the state board, we just need to be aware of this. And having someone from GSBA to come and speak, or even having Mr. Bryant to come and give us the original intent of the standard that was brought forth to help all of us have a better understanding of our duty as State Board of Education members. Because in statute, as Mr. Nick Ellis and I talked about, it doesn't say the state board can or the state board might, it says the state board shall. Shall is definitive, and that's in the law. So I just want to make sure that all of us understand this and that we are able to rally around our school systems to make sure our children get the rigorous quality education that they all deserve.
Anyone else?
I'll just add, certainly thank Mr. John and all of the partners at GSBA for the work that they've done around our school safety domain. It's been a long time coming, and I know Mr. John has been very persistent in making sure that this got across the finish line, as well as the executive director, Ms. Valerie Wilson, and Mr. Steve Barker, who's the associate leader in that organization. But this is not just about, GSBA. A lot of people have went into the work. GEMA, Georgia Public Safety Training Center, the Georgia School Superintendents Association, and a number of other stakeholders, the Department of Behavioral Health, who worked on this domain and worked on this work along with the Department of Education. But one of the things that sticks out, as I talked about yesterday, this domain is very important, but as well as the other 8 domains, as Ms. Lisa said. Title 20 says that the State Board of Education shall adopt and prescribe all rules. And this, again, is reasonable for proper implementation, enforcement, and carrying out the article and other public school laws for assuring a more economical and efficient operation of public schools. I think it's more of a time for us as a state board to, one, add this domain, but also reaffirm this work that was implemented in 2010. How are we going to improve our local boards? How are we going to improve how they govern, how they raise accountability? It's all prescribed here. Our partners are doing the work in training. We are doing the work of reevaluating and reaffirming. And now we have to make sure collectively that we support the boards in this work and implementation. Not only just the superintendents, because I know there's a lot of focus around what superintendents are not doing, but the superintendents are a part of this, as well as the school board members. They are a governance team together. And I think, having served there, it's easy to get lost in trying to hold the superintendent totally accountable and responsible for school districts. But they're elected members. And as Mr. John said, there are over 1,000 members who have been duly elected in their districts and have taken an oath. And these standards, again, are in line with their oath as the law and as rules. And so, again, board, I ask you again to, again, reaffirm the standards today, adding the domain, but also making sure that as this now has 9 domains, that we are doing the work of sharing that message individually when we have our public hearings. We do the work of having someone come and talk about why we implemented these things, but also making sure that we work with the legislators in this next session to make sure that we can put some teeth behind these standards of effective governance. So that, when school districts decide, I don't want to abide by these 9 domains anymore, what are we going to do? Or when there becomes a critical issue, when people are not managing and oversight of their financial obligations or their governance responsibilities, what are we going to do now as the Department of Education, the State Board of Education, the legislators, and also other constitutional officers who will play a part in holding these accountability standards across the state? So I just wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ellis. Anyone else? Yes, Ms.
I want to agree with him. I know I hear from people in my district about some concerns about board actions. And one of the things that I just want to say is I think this should become a part of what is reviewed as part of a school systems flexibility contract. And it should be one of those items that's looked at in terms of renewals and that kind of thing. Right now, short of legislation or anything else, that's the tool that we have, and I would just encourage that to be looked at in the future. I certainly will be.
Ms. Stockwell, anyone else? Seeing none? Need a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the ninth domain in collective with the existing standards that are already in progress.
Second.
First, motion by Mr. Ellis, second by Ms. Kennemore. All in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Okay, that takes care of the agenda items. Superintendent Woods and our guest speaker should be here within about 5 minutes. So we're gonna, it's gonna be a veterans salute today, so
Commemoration.
yes. Just hang tight here, we're just, and do you wanna go ahead and do the superintendent's? Or we'll let him do that when he gets back?
I think Lisa was gonna talk maybe
Yeah, that's
about
right, we
the
were gonna,
SRP
that's right, we were gonna let you
Yeah.
talk about NASB.
for NASB.
You wanna do it from your seat, you wanna go to the podium, or?
Oh, I can do it from here.
All right.
Everybody has a good view, except behind the podium. I can lean back for Robert to see me. I saw you looking down, that's why I call you Nan. I like Robert.
No,
No, he's a good guy, he's a good guy. State Board of Education member Matt Donaldson and I, we went to NASB this year. And we also had the joy of having Bronwyn. She also went and she did a presentation. And as I was talking to people there at NASB, we were in Austin, Texas, and this past week. And as I was talking to people after their presentation on Teaching the Peach, supporting Georgia's rural districts and teacher pipeline, most of the people that were there, they said that was the best session that I think I've been to the whole time. And there were a lot of different sessions all over the place. But I have to give you also one of the people that was there, she introduced Matt and Broen, and she said, Teaching the Peach, she said, I'm in the digital world and I'm in communication. She said, whoever came up with that, that is just the best that I think I've ever seen. So I wanted to make sure I told you that.
Well, it was a team. We have a great
Okay.
team here at the
Yeah.
department who
Okay.
did that. And I'll pass that along.
Yeah, pass it on, because she said that was the best thing. And then when they talked about the teacher pipeline and they were asking questions about how do we support the rural districts. And Bronwyn, she did a wonderful job explaining everything, giving them slides and information on the website where they could go to get information to take back to their states. And a lot of them have said that they are going to do that because Georgia is the leader, not just in the #1 state to do business, but we are going to be the #1 state to teach and the #1 state for other states to look at in what we're doing in education. So that was really great. And Matt Donaldson, he did a good job too. Matt, do you want to share out?
You may have had, he's still.
Hey, I'm here. But Lisa, I agree with everything. Great job and great summary. And appreciate Lisa being there and also Dr. Reagan Martin.
Yeah. If any of you are able to go to the NASB events that they have, I recommend that you do so. It gives you an opportunity to meet constituents in other states who are in their departments as well as on the boards of education. And you get to share information with them, what we're doing here, and hear information from them about what they're doing and where all of us are coinciding on issues and educational opportunities for our students. and it really helps a lot. The next NASB conference will be in Baltimore, Maryland. So put that on your radar, Baltimore, Maryland.
It is a very good conference.
It should be. Yeah,
When is
yeah,
it?
it always.
is. When is it?
NASB.
Yeah, when?
um,
You said Baltimore, I just.
Yeah, it will be Baltimore. It will be around the same time. It's usually always at the end of October.
Oh, gotcha.
But they just told us it's going to be in Baltimore next year. They haven't set the exact date, but it will be in Baltimore. So, but they also have other
Lisa?
meetings that you can go to in short times too. Matt?
Yes, it's October 26th or the 28th, 2026.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. But you can also serve, in a national position as well. Matt was in a national position for the Southeast, and I have done something on different panels in the NASB conferences as well. So you may be able to speak in a panel or be a part of some type of meeting that they may have, a local meeting. I've gone to Arkansas and been there for an educational meeting there as well. So it's just give you an opportunity. We're members. Take advantage of it if you can.
Jennifer and I went to the New Member Institute and it was really,
Yeah.
learned
Informative.
a lot.
Mhm.
And they do these HQIM, these like, it's once a month, but they're doing more than that,
Mhm.
it seems like.
Online.
Webinars where people log in and talk about different, it's interesting.
Mhm.
It
They're
is, see
extremely-
what they're doing other places,
Right.
see what we're
Or
doing
even to
better.
hear how other states' school boards function was really fascinating
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
All boards aren't, they aren't appointed like us. There are a lot of boards that are elected. And I had an opportunity to speak to one board member out of Kansas. Half of the state of Kansas is her district, and she's elected, and she's not paid. So she says she has clocked over 30,000 miles just traveling
Wow.
her district to talk to the constituents in the district, school districts there. So, I mean, it's interesting. Some of them are a mix of both. Some of them, they have, half of the members are Republican, half are Democrat. Some are appointed and then the other half elected. Some are paid and some are not. So, it's very different.
It is. But it is a very good conference. I didn't get to
It
go
is.
this year, but it is a very good conference to attend.
And also, Stacy Superdrug, she's been. Yeah, you and I, we went to the one in California, San Diego.
And I went last year at the one in Kentucky as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So that's very good.
they are in the elevator.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm gonna let you do the introductions.
Okay.
More.
When they come in, I'll start out with prayer and then introduce them. Matt, you have anything else to add? Here they go.
No, Lisa, you did a great job. So not much more I can add on to that. Thank you for bringing up the great benefits we get from NASB, and I hope others can attend as well. It's great to network with other State Board of Education members.
It is. And our Mr. Downey served on a panel. I have some nice pictures of that.
Oh,
You may want to see them.
no one wants to see them.
Ms. Pena,
Yes,
I
Mr.
do-
Ellis.
I do want to make everyone aware, if you haven't heard, the Georgia School Boards Association will be having their conference coming up in December. December 3rd, we'll start their pre-conference workshop. December 4th and 5th will be their conference dates.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Kinnamore, turn it over to you.
Hey, good morning once again. Our inspiration speakers are here. And before we get started, I'm going to start us out with prayer. So let us pray. Lord, we thank you for another day that you've given us. We thank you for the sunshine, Lord, and we thank you for an opportunity to just serve our state and our children and in a way that is beneficial, not just for them, but for us and our future. Lord, we thank you for everyone who's gathered here today and the safety that we had traveling to this location. Thank you, Lord, for the fire drill, and we hope that no one was caught on the elevator or in the stairwell, but everybody made it out safely and made it back into the building safe and sound. Lord, as we go into this inspiration, we just thank you for our men and women in uniform for raising their right hand and offering up their lives to serve and protect. And Lord, we just ask you to touch the heart, mind, and spirit of our teachers, administrators, our leaders, Lord, from the federal, state, and local municipalities, that they may understand that when we look to you and we serve you, everything will work out better for us and well for our nation. We know that you are faithful and able to do all things well, so be with us as we travel back to our homes. May we find it safe and sound the way that we left it. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Well, today we have two gentlemen from the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I got to know them, how many years ago? Many, many years ago. And I support them wholeheartedly in what they're doing for our men and women in uniform, our heroes, as well as our youth that are in our school systems all across the state. And Mr. Roger Wise, he is a gentleman I've known for many years as well. I've gone to some of their meetings at the veteran meetings there in Alpharetta and Johns Creek, and I've really got to know them and all of our military members. I tell you, I love them as if they are my own family, because we have so much in common. But Richard White, Colonel, retired U.S. Army. Oh, had to say that, sorry. Colonel Rich White, a native of Norcross, Georgia, enlisted in the United States Army Airborne Infantry as a private in 1966. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant through Infantry Officer Candidate School, OCS, in 1967, and at the age of 19, soon deployed to Vietnam for a total of 24 months in combat serving as a rifle platoon leader and reconnaissance platoon leader in the 4th Infantry Division, and as an Airborne Infantry Company commander in the 173rd Airborne Brigade. His numerous awards and decorations include the Bronze Star Medal for Valor, Combat Infantry Badge, Senior Aviator Wing, Ranger Tab, Special Forces Tab, and Master Parachutist Wings. He has degrees from Harvard University, Webster University, University of Maryland, and the Army War College. During 31 years of service, Colonel White commanded 2 brigades, 2 battalions, 6 companies, and 3 platoons encompassing infantry, special forces, aviation, and recruiting. In 1997, he retired from active duty and was later inducted into the OCS Hall of Fame located at Fort Benning, Georgia. Rick is a deacon at Clear Springs Baptist Church and has served on the board of directors for the Spears Foundation College Scholarships and the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame from the inception of both organizations. Currently, he is the president and chief executive officer of the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. He is the current honorary colonel of the 35th Infantry Regiment, the unit he served with during his first tour in Vietnam. He is married to the former Miss Pamela of Pasadena, California. Their family consists of twin daughters, a son, Graham, who I know personally. I love Graham. 2 son-in-laws, a daughter-in-law, 4 grandchildren. Rick and Pamela make their home in Johns Creek, Georgia. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell you about Mr. Wise, and then I will invite Colonel White up to the podium. Mr. Wise, he is a United States Army Sergeant from Roswell. He was inducted in the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame class of 2019 for his lifetime of service to others. If you have never taken a tour of the Capitol with Mr. Wise, you've got to do it. But make sure you wear tennis shoes because you will not be able to keep up with him. And after he was inducted in the Georgia Military
Veterans Hall of Fame, he has received he got his honorable discharge in 1967. He has dedicated his life to volunteering and supporting a myriad of civilian, military, and charitable enterprises. Veterans Affairs, Children's Health Care, Seniors Aftercare, the Vietnam Veterans Wall that heals in Johns Creek. If you've never been there, you've got to go. It is just something to behold. The wall that heals in Johns Creek. And the Fulton Chamber of Commerce, but are a few of the organizations benefiting from his seemingly never-ending generosity and energy. And he was commended by former Governor Nathan Deal and Senator Johnny Isakson and former Representative Tom Price for streamlining the Veterans Hospital system in Georgia. Other state leaders have recognized him for his work in establishing Georgia Peach Care for Kids Alliance, which in conjunction with the Shriners Hospital system provides free medical care for needy children. He helped coordinate the alliance of the Masonic Children's Home in Macon and the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services, which provides placement of children with unique needs. During his detailed guided tours of the Georgia Capitol, he takes everybody by the Military Veterans Hall of Fame. And if you've never been over there on the first floor of the Capitol to see that, you've got to go. I always say that is the place where our freedom begins, where men and women raise their right hand. And in leading the Pledge of Allegiance, in which he will do it after Colonel White, he continually and compassionately, effectively delivers the true and needed message about freedom is not free. Mr. Wise exemplifies patriotism, and I just want to thank them for being here to share with us today. Colonel White.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Lisa, for that kind introduction. And Superintendent Woods, it was nice to get to know you as we were at the Veterans Service over across the street in the Capitol, hosted by the governor. And there's one thing I'm so proud to be a veteran, proud to be an American, proud to be a Georgian. I grew up in Mayberry. No, it was Norcross, Georgia. But you would know it back in the days when I grew up, back in the 50s and 60s. It was Mayberry. It was Mayberry. Our policeman was authorized one bullet in his revolver. But that whole area has grown up so much. Right now, I'm blessed to live 6 miles as the crow flies from where I grew up on the other side of the Chattahoochee River. So after 31 years in the Army, my Southern California wife says, we're not going to California, we're going to live in Georgia. So she loves it here, we love it here. Our children have been blessed to grow up here also. To be respectful of your time, I asked Lisa, how long should I talk? She said, well, we have 10 minutes. So I timed it last night. So what I've done, I've ordered lunch and supper. So maybe it won't be that long. What I do want to say to you also, seriously, I do a lot of praying before anytime I speak to a group. I've spoken to groups from kindergarten all the way through, you can imagine, just all kinds of, I've never been to a prestigious audience like this, however, and so I do thank you, Lisa, for this, and Superintendent Woods for inviting me here. So I do pray a lot, and I do not want to insult you by reading my comments, but I will read them, because everything I've got here came from the heart, so it's not extemporaneous, but it is from the heart. So I will read my remarks. Thank you, Lisa, for that kind introduction and for inviting me to say a few words today about the meaning of Veterans Day and also about the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. First of all, I appreciate and thank all of you for your dedication to the education and development of the youth of our great state, the next generation of American leaders. Let me pause. I was not a 4.0 student in school, okay? I played a lot of sports, worked hard. I was a B student. But because of the wonderful United States Army and the education system, this country boy from Norcross, Georgia got to go to Harvard University. That would have never happened. And I ended up, this is not boasting, this is thank you, Jesus. I've ended up with 6 graduate degrees across many schools to include Harvard. That would not have happened without the United States military. You, ladies and gentlemen, have a lot to be proud of as educators. When you see young men and women, young youth going into the military, don't be nervous about that. Be grateful for it. I was told, and I was in North Carolina, in one of my jobs, I had to do a lot of rubber chicken dinner speaking after dinner. And one of the places I was at, I was approached by a PhD from NC State University. And he said, Colonel, I don't know what the military does. First of all, Colonel, I've never been in the military. But I want to tell you, I wrote my thesis, my doctoral thesis, on American young men aged 19 to 22. And here's my findings. I said, okay, I'm just sitting there listening. He said, I found that the success rate of a young man, an American young man, 19 to 20, of entering college and completing on time 4 years is less than 2%. He said, that doesn't mean they'll never graduate, that means that. He said, I also studied young men that went into the military. It could be 6 months, it could be 3 years or whatever. And he said the success rate of them graduating, not in 4 years, but in 3 years or less, was, he said, people won't believe it, but it's close to 98%. And he said, so I don't know what you guys do. I was never in the military, he told me. I don't know what you guys do there, but the maturity that causes the military to make these young folks complete their education is impressive. So I just throw that out as you as educators. Don't wring your hands when you see young Johnny or young Susie going into the United States military. That is a wonderful stepping stone in life for them. And I'm proof here to tell you for it. I experienced that myself. Next, I would like for you to be able, for all the veterans, to stand and be recognized. And I do this at every audience, and I don't know if there's anybody here. If there's any, first of all, I'd like to recognize all veterans. If there's any veterans in the audience, would you raise your hand? And thank you for your service. If there's anybody that knows of or a part of a Gold Star family, someone that lost their lives in combat, raise your hand. If you know, thank you, sir. If you know someone that, a family member that was a prisoner of war, raise your hand. I do that no matter what group I'm talking about, because we need to never forget those that gave their all. In fact, many people told me that were POWs that said, you know, it would have been easier for me to have been killed in action than to suffer the 6 years I served in, was in Hanoi Hilton for 6 or 7 or 8 years. And Lisa and I and Roger run into these kind of folks all the time across the state of Georgia. 5 days from now, 11 November, is Veterans Day. Although this day was not always called by that title, in legislation that was passed in 1938, 11 November was, quote, dedicated to the cause of world peace and to the hereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. As such, the new legal holiday honored World War I veterans. In 1954, having been through both World War I and Korea, the United States Congress, at the urging of veterans, amended the 1938 Act by striking out the word armistice and inserting the word veterans. With the approval of the legislation in 1954, 11 November became an official day to honor all living American veterans. Many people confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day in May is for those that were killed in action. Since the beginning of our nation's military service in June 1775, over 44 million men and women have proudly worn the cloth of our military and can be called that highly honorable title of veteran. For those 44 million men and women, roughly 18 million are still alive today, and Veterans Day is their day. Today marks the 107th anniversary of the end of World War I in France on the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, which was on a Monday. The, quote, Great War, and which was later known as World War I, ended the war that lasted 4 years, 3.5 months, and cost the lives of 17 million people across the globe. It was to be the war to end all wars. In the early morning hours of that same day in 1918, out in the far back country of Banks County, Georgia, And 78 miles from where we're sitting right here today, a little 8-year-old boy was awakened by his joyous father. The happy news was, the war's over. That family, like so many across America, needed some good news. This particular extremely poor Georgia cotton farming family of 9 children had just a few days before lost their oldest child, a sweet girl named Annie, to the great influenza of 1918. Annie was 19 years old. But now, for a brief moment of happiness, this family could look forward to the return of some of the older boys of the family and community that had gone off to war and now would soon be coming home because, quote, the war's over. Little did that family know, our nation know, that the war that was to be the war to end all wars, for the span of just 23 short years, another great war would erupt, followed too soon by wars in Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and on across the globe. That little boy was my father. And for the rest of his life, he was unable to tell about the events of that feeling of that day, 11 November 1918, without his own raw emotion showing the constant sacrifice and conflict of sadness of the loss of his sister that he so dearly loved, but the joy and happiness that the war is over. Why do I tell this particular story? Because war, its waging and its ending, affects each of us in so many different ways, regardless of age or understanding, whether we actually are the ones in combat or the ones further away from direct fighting, or the loved ones back home anxiously waiting for news and always praying that that news would be reassuring and good. Not only the conduct of war, but the constant preparation of war has an everlasting effect. That is why our humble veterans and their loved ones are special and need to be recognized and thanked. It is so right, it is so correct, it is so needed to have a day that we can set aside and honor and sincerely thank those that have made possible that one particular word that all of us hold so dear. That precious word is freedom. May we never allow the phrase, quote, freedom is not free, to turn into a cliche. Likewise, may we never allow ourselves to not say with true sincerity the 5 sweet words to this soldier's ears, thank you for your service. Unable am I to adequately tell you how much those 5 words mean to me. As a Vietnam veteran, I experienced close combat and the loss of many young men that were next to me. For many years after my 2 tours in Vietnam, I either acknowledged or otherwise had a large chip on my shoulder of resentment concerning the way Vietnam veterans were treated upon returning from that long war. Today, I'm at peace, and I'm pleased to tell you that the bitter resentment that I felt so long ago does not now exist. Those 5 words are never received by this little soldier as anything but with great appreciation and gratitude. Those 5 words have served as a soothing balm to a deep wound that was unseen. That wound did not render a Purple Heart, but nonetheless, it delivered pain. Not long ago, in a recent visit to a grammar school Veterans Appreciation Day event, I entered the school walkway. It was lined with sweet young children waving small American flags, and all were saying those sweet words to these veterans. Thank you for your service. Needless to say, for many of us soldiers had sweaty eyeballs. No doubt, as demonstrated by your presence here today, you do and mean to say those 5 words with your encouragement in currently serving men and women and our veterans. So speaking on behalf of all my fellow veterans, thank you so very much for that simple but very meaning and impactful statement of gratitude. Thank you for your service. who were these 44 million that were called veterans that we prepared to give, they were prepared to give their all so that you and I can continue to breathe the good, clean, sweet, fresh air of America's freedom. They are American men and women from every walk of life and from every part of our great land that once raised their right hand, took a solemn oath, and served on active or reserve component duty in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard. They all took a very serious oath. But what does that oath say? I'm sure that most of you have heard it or have said these words in that oath, but listen to them as I ponder their impact. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to military regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. What this oath is saying to these men and women who sworn to defend a piece of paper, it is not just a piece of paper. That piece of paper is the Constitution of the United States of America. It is the ideals and the dreams of our founding fathers. It is the guarantee of freedom, and we hope for all Americans. It is a shining example to others around the world that also desire that sweet word called freedom. A piece of paper with the idea and the ideals of freedom. You see, without these selfless veterans living today and the other sacrifices that sacrificed before them, none of the freedoms listed in our Constitution that we too often take for granted would be or could be realized. These men and women, these veterans are special, but in their humbleness, they would not describe themselves as special. They are those that Abraham Lincoln described at Gettysburg as willing to quote, give their last full measure of devotion. They're the ones that emphatically answered the call to John F. Kennedy's challenge by not asking what their country could do for them, but what they could do for their country. There are two verses in the Bible that I feel best describe a veteran. When I think of these selfless defenders of freedom, these veterans, two passages from the Bible come to mind. The first passage is from the Old Testament. It asks two questions, and it then provides an immediate response to those two questions. The other passage is from the New Testament, and it describes what these defenders of freedom are willing to do for you and to me for freedom. The two questions from the first passage are found in Isaiah 6:8, with the two questions being, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? And the immediate resounding answer comes, here am I, send me. The second passage is found in John 15:13, and its words, no doubt, you are familiar with. Greater love hath no one than this, than they lay down their life for a friend. From our nation's beginning, when our nation needed warriors and asked who would go for us, young Americans all across our land raised their hand and said, in essence, here am I, send me. Their, quote, send me response also demonstrated the willingness of their selfless service of the second Bible verse. For when these young Americans raised their right hand and took that serious, life-changing, and selfless oath of enlistment or commissioning, they were saying in essence, I love my country so much, I love our freedom so much, and I love our people so much that I'm willing to lay down my life for them. Because freedom is not free, and it never will be free, the cost is so high. We have Veterans Day as our way to thank these selfless defenders of freedom that have made it possible for precious, blessed freedom to first be secured and then constantly insured. 68 years ago, on a spring Sunday morning in Norcross, Georgia, a small group of 10-year-old boys were asked by their Sunday school teacher, who happened to be a World War II Marine. He asked them to start praying each night for two things. That first, that God would direct them to the woman that they would marry, and secondly, that he would direct them to their life's work. One of those young boys started that very night asking God for those two requests. And by, both prayers were answered and are still being answered today, each day. That one once 10-year-old young boy is now standing in front of you, and I can report that God did answer those prayers. He richly blessed me with a godly wife, 3 wonderful children, and he blessed me with an Army career of 31 active duty years in both war and peace. And while serving in the best military in the best country in the world. And now, in retirement, God continues to bless me with the opportunity to rightfully recognize and honor other veterans across the great state of Georgia by serving with the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Each November starting in 2013 and through last Saturday, 1st of November in Columbus, a total of 206 living, deceased, and killed in action veterans have been inducted into this rare and noble Hall of Fame for our veterans for the state of Georgia. They and all veterans know firsthand what it means to sacrifice for others. They have lived a life that can be best described in those 2 Bible verses that were previously mentioned. They answered their nation's call. They raised their right hand and they said, "Send me." And they continue to live a life of sacrifice for others. When I read of what they have done for you and for me and for our blessed nation, I am gratefully humbled, and my words are inadequate to fully express my gratitude to them. Accordingly, I will now introduce you to one of those American heroes. In 2019, now inductee number 115, United States Army Sergeant Veteran Roger William Wise, Jr., category service. Thank you for letting me spend a few moments and share a few thoughts with you today. May God bless you. May God bless those that have given a portion of their life. In so many cases, they're all for freedom. May God bountifully bless all those that currently, quote, stand in the gap for our nation, and may he continue to graciously bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I've got something for each of you from the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sergeant's always prepared.
Yeah,
Over at the Capitol today, and Lisa reminded you, I take the JROTC cadets, the student leaders, the emerging young leaders. I've been over there 40 plus years, and I've specialized in education, children's health care, and veterans. And I give them tours. Our Capitol is very unique in the fact that it is not only our state capitol, it's also our state museum. And I don't let them use the elevators. I make them follow me on the stairs, and I run their little asses off. So we come over here for lunch, and they always ask, "Commissioner, how old are you?" I said, "I'm 84. My God, you're hard to keep up with. Some girl will say, "Are you married?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been married 54 years. She'll grab the girl next to her and shake her, said, "He's been married 54 years. What is your secret?" I said, "What secret?" 54 years of marriage. I said, "There's 4 things. I drive the car, I smile, I pay the bills, and I say, 'Yes, dear.'" Every girl in the class will come up and say, "If I ever get married, I want you to talk to my husband." I'm standing in front of you today, reminding you that freedom is not free. Someone has to pay for it. When you see a veteran, you walk up to them and shake their hand and look them eyeball to eyeball and say thank you for your service to our country. Remembering that, everybody, once a sergeant, always a sergeant. On your feet.
All right.
Stand up. Face the flag. And join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Let me just take a few more moments. All of you are educators. There's something the Hall of Fame is very proud of. The Hall of Fame started in 2013, but in 2020, we started the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame Scholarship Program. So far, since 2020, we've provided 64 scholarships totaling $256,000. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but here's a beautiful pamphlet. It's got a picture of every one of the cadets, young men and women that have been inducted. I got plenty. I would like each one of you to have it. If you have a JROTC within your school area, please let them know about these scholarships. We're in a wonderful situation. We have more money than we have applicants. Okay, we'd like to get rid of that money. Okay, $4,000. Even if they got a full ride, they get $4,000. I'll leave these with Lisa. Also, if you know a veteran, everybody knows veterans, let them know about the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I'm going to brag about our guy right now. This gentleman right here on the very front, you'll see the pamphlet when you get it, is Tommy Clack. Do any of you know Tommy Clack? Tommy Clack has one limb. It's his left arm. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. And he has one arm. Tommy Clack developed this, folks. I got all 4 appendages. I couldn't do this. Okay, so that's the kind of selfless service these men and women. By the way, Tommy Clack is the oldest triple amputee in America, veteran. So we got a lot of wonderful heroes in this state. Take your time, as Lisa said, to go over to the Capitol and take a look at some of those that made freedom possible for our state. I'll leave these with Lisa. Thank you so much.
I'd also like to invite you to come to Johns Creek. We have the second largest privately funded Veterans Memorial Walk in the United States in Johns Creek, Georgia. That was a partnership between the Johns Creek Veterans Association and the city of Johns Creek. It's the old 4.5-acre dog park. So it is the second largest privately funded Veterans Memorial Walk. Across the street, in the basement of the Capitol, you have the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I'm walking out of the Capitol one day. This goes all the way back to Governor Joe Frank Harris. And one of the sergeants came over and says, "Ambassador Wise, I want to see your ID." He said, "I know who you are." And he says, "This is not an official thing, but I want to see the antique because this is the ID that I originally got many, many years ago." So thank you for all you do. Superintendent, it is a pleasure getting to know you, and thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to visit with you on this Veterans Day.
Yes. Thank you so much.
May we have pictures?
Yes.
She wants this right up here. Thank you.
You get front and center.
Yep, right here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
I can take instructions. Thank you for what you do. Thank you very much.
Enjoy being with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take us away.
Thank you, dear.
Congratulations.
Yes.
No, you didn't say it right. I played football against
I
Morgan County.
thought the
Morgan
same
County.
thing.
I said, what? In the Morgan County.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You've got my business card.
You have it, you already have
Thank
one.
you.
Well,
Run your little ass.
it wasn't
Georgia has more, there's no state in the union that has more JROTC units than Georgia, over 350. Once you lose it, it'll take a big, whatever miracle to get one back. You don't want to lose those. They, as Superintendent and I were talking about, it's not about the military, it's about citizenship, patriotism, and so forth. And you work with or talk with a young JROTC student, they will look you in the eye, they will shake your hand with authority, they will say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you. They teach them anything, they just teach them good manners for one thing. It's invaluable to have a JROTC element, if you can get it. If you got it, thank goodness you keep it, because you can lose it, it's hard to get it back.
This was from you. Last year, we take family trips every year.
Who had like 7, you know, they weren't 20 years.
That's okay.
But well, they were telling us.
They kind of changed that rule too.
Oh, they did?
Mhm.
Okay.
Because that same reason, so they've opened it up to veterans, also, I think I'm right on that. And so, yeah, if you can get it, because it's so, it'll lift
Yeah,
your
we
school
just
up.
had Matthew's
Okay,
birthday
second
last
question.
night, and so
Because
the
we
whole
lost the
family
program,
gets
what
together
did you come up with the Civil Air
for the
Patrol?
That's good, that's a good program.
And
Is
so
Civil Air, or
they're
the
all
Civil Air
growing
Patrol
up,
kids,
not like
could they do
cousins,
that
but like
scholarship?
Yes, ma'am,
brothers.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, I just dealt with another school in, Cherokee County, same situation. They lost their ROTC, but they were able to get, Civil Air Patrol, and we honor that likewise. Because it's the same ethics and so forth that are taught.
It's really good.
Good question. Yeah, go after Civil Air
Okay.
Patrol. Sir, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for being here. Very inspirational.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
August 18th, 1960.
You know the Tommy Black, the guy that pointed that
It means
just a guy that's
to veterans. I was in the Columbia.
About email cards, you can go to the website, I'll make it easy. She has a cousin that was killed in Vietnam, in the 25th Division, I was there at the same time. I'm a high school graduate of 1965. The class of 1965 in America has lost more men in Vietnam than any other high school class in 1968 in America. My OCS class, we lost, Officer Candidate School class, we lost 10%. 10% were killed in Vietnam. The first guy I was with was killed, was close to CNI, medic was killed. It was a devastating year in 1968. I know you why. That's just one quick story. I want to give each one of you a business card. You can go to our website, but I'll make it easy for nominating someone. If you'll just send me an email and say, hi, Rick, Hall of Fame. That's all you need. I get a lot of emails. I'll send you everything you need. Not everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. This is bylaws, it's 15 a year. But anyone that's nominated can receive the quote certificate of honor. And I've had it's a moving ceremony. Just had people come to tears because somebody finally recognized their service. Roger and I did one, and you can do it anywhere you want to. We had a 100-year-old Navy veteran, his 100th birthday, he wanted it at Chick-fil-A. So So we had our ceremony and some big chickens standing there, and I'm standing there in my full uniform, and we honored him that way. But we've done it in churches, graveside ceremonies, VFW, American Legion, a living room with 3 people, you name it, it's up to the family. So I encourage you to honor your veterans that you know, in your community, your family, and so forth. Again, I'll make it easy for you. Just send me an email and say, hey, Rick, Hall of Fame, boom, I'm gonna send you back everything that you need. Fair enough? And also, Lisa has the information about the scholarship. There's more of those pamphlets that are in this room. That's okay. Spread it around, get more information out. All right, taking up so much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Safe travels. He may be.
I can right back over to the Capitol, so you don't get far.
Send me an yes, sir.
Safe travels.
Thank you, ma'am.
Everything else, let's not, thank you. Safe travels.
He was our best football player, he was our best, I was like 9. But I said, he was older, so he was always the one who got us in trouble. And then he would sit on the porch and laugh while we were all getting scolded. Okay, well, Superintendent Woods, we cannot follow that.
No.
But
It's a good place to end.
yeah, do you have anything, superintendent's report or anything today?
No, I think that kind of summed it up.
Okay. I do want to, just one more time, mention that our Thursday meeting next month on the 11th will start at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. We have Parkview Jazz Band coming, and they need time to get their instruments through security upstairs, unloaded, do sound checks and all, so we will be starting Thursday, December 11th at 10 a.m. Anyone have anything else to offer to the good of the board? Not?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Downey?
Second.
Second, Mr. Ellis, all in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.